Hello, beautiful everybody. I hope you're doing good. For those new here, this is Elina Laivera. I'm a singer, a songwriter, and today I welcome you to our first podcast that we are doing, the first episode of the Brand New Eyes podcast. Brand New Eyes is the title of my latest EP, which I'm so happy to be finally sharing with the world. And within the frames and the container that each of the songs of this beautiful body of work that I'm very proud to be sharing with you guys, the container that these songs can offer us for conversation, I'm so happy to be putting together these podcast episodes to give me the opportunity to share a little more about my music and hopefully to connect also with you, sharing so you feel free to share back, and we can hopefully open beautiful discussions or just acknowledge one another, just mirror one another, bounce back, beautiful conversations. And I want to say this before we dive right into it. Some of the things you might happen to hear in these podcasts might challenge you, might challenge your worldviews, might bring new impulses, new inspiration. But for the cases where you feel challenged, I would like to ask you to please only keep what resonates and leave the rest out. The intention here is not to discard or insult anybody's unique experience or reality. So I would ask that the same takes place also from your side, not to come basically for me and my views and my reality. So let's keep it respectful and with an open mind. And having said that, I am very happy today to have over my partner in crime, Jovan Ducret. Hello, Jovan. Wanna come over? So, you guys, yes, for those who don't know, Jovan is my partner in life and in crime. Would you like to say a few things today about yourself? What do you do?
I'm a music producer. I'm a mixing, mastering engineer. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Mainly.
Yes, and I'm so very lucky to be working with you since 2017.
Yeah.
September 2017, we first walked into one of the old rooms that you had and we used to do, and the rest is history. We have in the meantime created so many beautiful albums, both for me but also for all sorts of other artists here in the studio. And yes, we built this studio, you guys, in 2018, like together. We literally built it in the sense that we found this place here, but it was really dilapidated and we had to renovate it. I still remember when we were like lifting these very heavy stones. Well, they were very heavy for me, but you were lifting them 10.
No, they were also heavy for me, but it was just funny because you came with 2 stones each walk and I had to carry 10 or 20, and we had to carry, what, like 400 in total or even more,
Jeez.
I guess.
Did I even carry 2 stones at the time or just one?
We had a huge pile here afterwards, and it even leaked on the floor afterwards, the water into the stone, stones. I guess something happened, or we had a bucket and it leaked or something, and we just had the floor done and a huge pile of stones on the floor and stuff. And
I remember, yes. Well, it turned out good. Definitely, yes. This studio has been very much a part of our lives for the past, what is it now, 7 years?
7.
Yeah.
I guess this studio we have since 6 years. I guess it's 6, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we started
6, 7
building
years,
it 2018, but it took us almost like 9-10 months. So
correct, and it finished in 2019.
Yes, I think February 2019 we opened our doors officially. Yeah, it has been a beautiful home for my music personally. And I feel for creatives it is important whichever way we can, even if it's just a tidy little corner in our bedroom. It's so important that we do have a space where we can, bring our inspirations, we can bring our musings and put them to life. I find that for me, it has not always happened, but there have been times, and I realize that this is happening a lot for other creatives, where there's a lot that comes out of us, pours out of us, but it doesn't get put into practical action. It stays, let's say, a recorded song in a hard drive or a poem in a notebook. And I find that for me, this is what the studio has done. allowed me to really jump, even in my pajamas sometimes, to come in here and, and then do some demos and then give them to you, and, you pick the songs up.
That's funny, because for me it did the complete opposite, actually. I mean, for other artists, yes, exactly. I'm getting things done. I'm finishing records and I'm doing stuff. But since I have this opportunity to do basically whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want, I started piling up ideas and stuff, because I don't know, I had all sorts of ideas that I guess I just had to get them out of my mind, because they have been piling up maybe for such a long time. But then I sometimes also didn't have the time to finish them completely, or I just had to get them out or whatever. So I just started recording sometimes half songs or ideas or real songs. I mean, or finished the songs, but I have so many songs on hard drives. Actually, I don't know how many hard drives I have full, sometimes full songs, sometimes completely mixed mastered, sometimes just an idea.
To your defense, I ought to say your output is so vast when it comes to exactly all of the other artists that are coming here, and they're like, so I have this idea here, can you make it into a song? And you're like, there you go, your song ready. So
that's probably also the thing, because I also work for other artists. I do stuff myself. But I'm also not really planning, I guess, to put them out myself. I just do the songs. So I just start songs and finish songs or write songs, and then other projects are coming in, and then I have to be occupied with the other projects. In the meantime, so much is changing that I don't feel like going back to these songs and finishing them.
Yeah, that's
it's
what
like
I wanted
I have
to say.
moved on already.
That I feel like maybe sometimes all of this huge catalog that we have piling up in a hard drive, it's a little bit like testing, trying out, doing things, and maybe that's why you can be so effective when others come and ask you to produce their stuff, because you have done 10 of these things when you've been trying out and playing with your own stuff, so that now you can do it like on demand or whatever. So I feel. However, for me personally, I'm very, very happy, especially so with Brand New Eyes, because Brand New Eyes is basically a mix out of new and a little bit older songs. Like when I remember Sword Sharp, he was written a little bit more further back. And then, songs like I'm the Fire, they were very, very recent. Like really, I recorded it just days before we started, here recorded. I finished it and I was recording demos really before we were, official production of the EP. And it's a beautiful thing. I am aware that it's not the normal thing. Also for us, it took a lot of effort to build this space. But I wanted to, take the opportunity to acknowledge that we owe it to ourselves as creatives to, if not, as I said, a little corner in our bedroom where we put like a little whatever, something there, and we have it, even if it's just your corner for journaling or something. It's so important that we make space for our creative juices to flow. Because if we don't say, okay, here's a container for you to do that, I find that eventually these creative juices, they start to, I don't want to say dry, but they don't feel safe enough to come out. We go from a place of being a creative or a creator or a producer of things to being maybe just a consumer. And I wanted to ask you, as a music producer, how do you consume music? Do you consume? And if yes, how do you, what is the ratio for you between producing and consuming? And when you consume, what is it that you find yourself drawn to, currently at least? Because I know that your tastes can vary from time to time.
That's so interesting, because it depends on the phase I'm in. The way I consume music, or the reason why I'm consuming music, has changed a lot over the last years, of course. I don't know, a couple of years ago I was consuming music still, how do I say it? As a consumer, of from a consumer's perspective. And the thing is, because I'm working so much in the studio and I'm trying to create so much, I kind of lost this a little bit, that I'm not consuming music for the sake of the music or the song, but sometimes I even listen to music that I'm actually not, which is not, I mean, not my favorite genre of music, but I listen to it anyways because I find the production interesting.
For academic interest.
Yes, or I find the mix interesting or something interesting about the song. Sometimes it's also just a single element that I find interesting in the production. So I just listen to this song and then I find myself, I'm catching myself again that I don't listen to music for the sake of music. So I'm trying to get back to this a little bit, that I'm getting to listen to music for the sake of the music and not for researching or for I don't know, like figuring out new things or something. But the thing is also, if I have a full day, let's say, and I'm working in the studio 8 hours or something, sometimes this looks like I'm finishing a mix in the morning for some client, and then in the afternoon, a new client is coming in with new music, and sometimes they're also coming with references. So I'm anyways listening to the references, or get a little bit into the world of the artist, basically, to get to listen to some productions of this genre, just to have some idea of
some reference. Okay, what am I creating today for this person?
So then when I'm back home, I don't really listen to it anymore. I mean, I'm not really listening to music then anymore. That happens mostly when I have days off or something, that I'm listening to music. But then also sometimes it's just, purely out of, I don't know, this mix is interesting or this interesting. And that I find myself, not really listening to music for the sake of music anymore. What does it look like for you as an artist when you are writing?
And to be honest, it's funny with me because I used to be hysterically consuming music. There was not a moment in the day, like when I remember, especially like from my teenage years and all, it was like an escapism. Like really, I was here, but I wasn't here. We could be hanging here, but I would have headphones on and I would be listening to something, or I would have my notebook. Let's say we would be out for dinner and I would have my notebook writing lyrics and whatnot. And I was so much into this, constant consuming, but in order to create. So the input output was a constant cycle. And at some point, I got a little shamed out of it. Not a little, a lot. It's like, what are you? Like completely whatever, antisocial or whatever. And you're all the time writing lyrics, or you're all the time like whatever. So I think with the socialization process that comes with your teen years, with your teens, and then when you also come out of high school and you have to start socializing also, like you start getting your first job, you start mingling around, like you're supposed to be like an adult. So I started really putting this part of me a little bit on the back. It was a thing of survival, right? Because we are newly adults, we want to make our mark in the world, and it's so important how we are perceived at that first stage. And now that's a very far throw from who I am today. But, that's how it was. And then what shifted was exactly, I just realized that no matter how much I tried to put this huge aspect of me of consuming and creating, no matter how much I would put it aside to keep others comfortable, it still didn't earn me respect. It still didn't earn me approval or acceptance or belonging. And brand new eyes, the title is not a coincidence. This is one of the things that I was able to see, that my eyes opened up to this phenomenon where I'm like, listen, not being me anyways doesn't, because really it's gonna be like, Elina, come on, you being you, is it really like this process of consuming to produce, is this really you? Yeah, I'm a highly creative person. I create, like right now, if you ask me to do something for you, you know that I can create a million things. So yes, that's me. If you ask me to put this aside, you're asking me to put me aside. So I started doubling down into that. And of course, that took me far away from certain relationships or places or spaces or circles or even genres and like cultural genres, but I found such greater fulfillment. I found such greater, deeper connections. I found you. And I think that's my model. today I consume way less because I don't find a lot that I like. I don't find a lot that I resonate with. And my creative bursts are more like bursts now, where it's a burst and I have to write it down. I have to create a little. And same happens with the consumption. It's a burst. I have to sit down and consume, eat everything up, and then have a period of complete silence. And that silence, it lasts. It can last a year, can last whatever, where everything is incubating. It could be that I'm doing other things because, as I said, I'm constantly creating. But when it comes to my music and specifically, the creation of bodies of work that I decide they are good enough for me to put them out, that's what I do. So that means a lot of silence and then bursts of creation, consumption. And if I listen to things, if I consume things, I usually find myself, especially the last years, I find myself going back to old things and things that don't necessarily fall under the one specific genre. It's all over the place and cross formats also, not just music. Could be also a movie, could be a book, could it be a piece of painting, could be a poem, it could be a post. So yeah, I'm a highly creative person, like yourself.
Yeah, I guess it's that creative spark, right, that you're getting every once in a while, and then you feel like you need to consume a lot. It sometimes happens to me too when I see when I watch movies or whatever, and you're just getting a certain feeling from the movie. So you wanna, it's kind of like a world, and you want to dive into that world, and you want to create that feeling. And so you start consuming, but it's not necessarily music. It can also be movies. It can be anything, a book, whatever, and you just take it and you just get inspired by it, and then you just
you
take
said
it from there.
something interesting that kind of brought me to the, I was thinking about the concept of like alchemy, like fire. Because also today you guys wanted to talk about the song, the flagship song of Brand New Eyes, which is I Am the Fire, right? And you said something that kind of stuck with me about consuming, but then in order to create further, which brings me to the notion of fire as an alchemical element. Alchemy is literally like taking something in one form, putting it under incredible heat or whatever, or alchemical like transmutation process, and then bringing something else out of it. I mean, the medieval ancient alchemists, they took lead and they were trying to put it under processes to see if they could make gold from lead. I'm not saying now that the things that we consume are lead, kind of like worthless and, oh, look, we create like so much better. No, but it is an alchemical process because of the way that certain things apply only to us a certain way. And we're going to put them out in a way that only we can. And because it could be that something has been done before, but it inspires us to do something that derives from that, but the way we are going to put it out into the world is so different because it's filtered through us. And so that brings me back to what I was saying. It's funny because I keep on going in circles in my discussions, but it does bring me back to what I was saying at the beginning, that it's so important for creatives that we do create containers for this spark, for this fire to be able to exist. Because ultimately it's connected, I feel, and as the song also says, I am the fire, it's ultimately connected to something so much greater, so much larger. It's not, about you and me, but it's what you and me, where we can start on an individual level that can, if I do it, if you do it, if you guys do it, whatever, it starts reverberating outwardly. And from personal, individual, it becomes collective. And I think that ultimately this is how we create change, any kind of movement towards something new, which I feel honestly our world needs very much right now. I feel like a lot has been done and done and done. And certain things have had their golden age. And you know what happens after a golden age? We start to see the deterioration of things. And I find that currently there's a lot of darkness coming out of that, or a lot of darkness around that. I feel like we need this creative spark to light a fire in the darkness. We need to not forget our touch with what makes us alive, what moves life.
So is this what the song is about?
Yes.
I'm the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about, in fact, being a light worker, as I call it. It's about being an alchemist yourself. I identify very much with the word alchemist. Maybe even more than light worker, because I don't necessarily always work with light. I know that Brand New Eyes is a very uplifting, inspirational, very empowering through light body of work. But I don't necessarily only work with light. And in order to have arrived to that light, I usually have allowed myself to go through very, very deep, dark spots. And I feel that, this is what the song is about. The song basically... it documents. It's like the diary of a light worker, and it's effing tough sometimes. Exactly, because it's like, light workers. I feel like we're needed in the trenches, where you're needed where there is darkness. You're not needed where there's light already. There's light there. Thank you very much. We don't need your services. But where there's darkness, where there's difficulty, where this darkness needs to be challenged. That's where we are needed. And that can be a very, very lonely place to be. That can be a very difficult place to be. I feel like pretty much everyone right now is trying in their own lives with everything that's going on without sounding too bleak. But I feel like when you look at the world, we say, everything is going to shit or whatever. But what I see in people is that actually everybody is trying to be their own light. We're all just trying our best. We're all just trying to light a spark in whichever capacity we can. And I feel like for me, writing the song, you know how I wrote the song? It's so funny.
No.
I was riding a bus. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, and I looked around at some point and I found myself feeling so alone in my beingness, in my, exactly this attitude of always trying to alchemize things, always trying to find light in dark situations or be the light bringer in dark situations. And it's like you constantly have this darkness just constantly fighting back. And it's going to be with so many ways that, I know right now we talk about it and it sounds so woo. But it's, in your day-to-day, when you have this toxic idiot who just, you're just doing your own thing, but they find it's a cool thing to just come attack you instead of finding something of their own they can do, or toxic workplaces or toxic relationships, or even within families. You see sometimes within families there's like things like jealousy or manipulation and stuff like that, and you're like, what? So there's so much that is going on, and each and every one of us, we're doing the best we can each time to bring light to the situation for ourselves, and sometimes we even take it on us to bring light for others. And at some point I found myself feeling very tired. Like, if I am the one who constantly brings the light to places, who's going to bring it to me when I need it? Because I found myself sometimes in places where I look around and I'm like, my gosh, there's nobody else. And in this trench, I'm on my own. And I started writing. I pulled out my phone while I was riding this bus, and I looked around, not necessarily with judgment, but just looking at the people around me, and I realized, wow, nobody's even trying. Like, they don't even think that far. It's not about trying, because maybe someone is dead tired. There's nothing to give. But they're not even conscious of that process that is taking place. Like, I find sometimes actually caring about being a light, it can be a very lonely place, because so often it can make you question yourself because you're standing there on your own and there's nobody else standing there with you. There's no mirroring to show you, am I on the right path? Is what I'm doing good? It's like, no, so often, at least for me, that's how I have experienced it. And that's the experience that I'm talking about in the song. I've been constantly, put in this place as in, you're the crazy of the village. We can all not care about nothing, and even attacking each other, making things very hard for each other. And you're the only one who cares. Like, you're the crazy of the village. So I have felt very isolated also through my whole journey since being a child and being being a highly intuitive, highly perceptive, psychically perceptive child all the way into my adulthood. So I wrote this song in a time when I was finding myself like all of these years of feeling like, oh, it's just me and I'm on my own. I felt that catching up with me. And I needed to put it to paper. I needed to put it somewhere that, no, don't get it twisted. It's good what you are doing. I wanted to remind myself that, you know what, I am the fire. I'm not the crazy of the village, like everybody has been calling me. I'm not the tourist. I'm not the whatever, the utopian thinking, idealistic, little stupid fool. I am the fire. And there's a little problem sometimes with the fire. And I think you can agree with what I'm going to say next. It can be, yes, it brings the light, but it can also be very intimidating sometimes.
Yes, and actually, I think you're not alone in this crazy of the village thing or tourist thing. Because I guess what you are exactly is a creative, artistic person, and you're an artist, basically. And this is, not everybody is that. If you look around, like most people are, if you just divide it into two categories, kind of like the artist and the consumer, most people are consumers and not artists.
I mean, I don't make the one or the other bad,
no,
but I do have a problem when the other side makes me bad.
Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, also without any judgment, without any, but that's just how it is. Because if everybody would create something, then everybody would be a creator, but that's not really the thing. Most of the people are consuming the art that some people are creating. And in order to create art, and to be a creative person, you have to think differently than others. You have to see something and have to take it and think about like, oh, what can I do with this thing? Or what can I do with this concept or with this? And you're just thinking differently. So other people, they are not thinking that far. So it's just weirding them out. And of course they think that you're crazy. And sometimes that can be also intimidating because not because you mean it or you mean to intimidate, but you're challenging thoughts. And I know this from myself. I'm challenging things sometimes just for the sake of getting behind it. No, it's not necessarily the fun. It's just for getting behind it. You know, it's like, I don't know, this thing works like this and that. And I'm just asking myself, why? And then you're just asking why, and then it is like, because that's how it is. Because. Exactly. And then people are getting
offended. And you're like, but does it work for you?
Exactly.
And no.
Exactly.
Yes, I don't know.
And then people are getting offended. And the thing is, I don't mean to offend. I just mean to question. Yes. I just mean to bring a different perspective onto a thing or a different point of view to a certain thing. So I don't know. The thing is not necessarily round for me or green or whatever, you know, like it is what it is. Like I look at it and I'm like, I don't know, but what if we change this, you know? Or what if we, I don't know. Yeah. I get...
See, it's this curious exploration energy. It's very fire-oriented, but it's someone who would see it and be like, yeah, let's get curious and childlike, playful. Another one would be like, oh, I don't know, that I don't know. Yes. Why are you so extra now?
Yes. So I, for example, I don't know, stupid thing, but happened probably to everybody, okay? You're a little kid, your mom is giving you like a cooking device. Like how are these things called? Like
what,
Jesus
like
Christ,
pot?
like a pot, exactly. I missed the word. So mom is giving you a pot. When my mom would give me a pot, I would turn it around, I would start drumming on it.
You for sure?
Yes. And maybe that would piss some people off, you know, or they would be like, why can't you just sit there and do the thing
that's
you're
not how
supposed to do? Because that's not how you use it. You use it like this because you're cooking in it or whatever, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but it sounds a certain way. What if I just use it? And nowadays, this is helping me in my job because also, I guess every creative, of course, like has a different outlet or everybody has maybe like a different skill. Some skills might overlap. Some skills might, you know, like might be completely different. So for example, you are more the songwriter. So you take an idea and you write it down into words. Then you're bringing the words to me, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm more like the
twist it on his head.
Exactly. And then I just try to make something out of it, and I'm like, okay, what could that sound like?
Yeah.
And then you have at the beginning I tried, because then you're getting taught to do things the right way. Like, for example, this is a pot, you use the pot like this. This is this, you use it like that, you use it like this. So when I started producing, I still got caught up a little bit in this, what's the right way, what's the wrong way? You know, like there is a right way to do things, there is a wrong way to do things. So for example, I have virtual instruments or something. So let's make a record. Okay, I have this and this sound bank. Let's see that I can use some sounds from these sound banks.
Yeah.
And then as you develop as a producer, you find yourself going back to the roots, basically, at least me again, and being like, let's take the pot. Let's record the
Bring
pot.
the pot
Yes,
back in.
let's record the pot, and let's manipulate it into a way, you know, let's manipulate it somehow until it sounds interesting, and maybe it doesn't sound like a pot anymore, but somehow you still realize that it is a pot. It still gives you a certain familiarity. Exactly. It is. I like doing things, for example, I like to use the human voice a lot into productions. Also as instruments, so I manipulate the voice into an instrument so that you would not recognize the voice as a voice. But I still think in the back of your mind as a listener, you will recognize it as a voice, and it will do something else to you than if you would just use a synth.
Yes. You know, the funny thing is, I don't even believe that we are a few light workers. Those of us who bring our light, as in bringing this different perspective, bringing in something that, as I said, you know, on the one hand, it lights the way. It can bring in new perspectives, but it can also come in to incinerate the old that doesn't work anymore. And this, can be very intimidating. So I don't think it's so few of us, but we do, light workers, we do feel alone, because the tragedy that is happening, I find, is that most light workers, they dim this fire, this light, exactly because of the reasons that I said. You know, it gets intimidating for others. So you're even, you know, there's this punishment and reward system in our society, and this can put one in a place where you just dim it down because you just want to have peace. But like this, I don't see you for what you are. You don't see me for what you are. So we just go home at the end of the day and we both feel like, I haven't met anyone who sees the world the same way that I do. And we're crying ourselves to sleep and we're on our own, you know. That's very much the emotion that I was, you know, capturing into the song. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we ought to not forget, no, you are the fire. So just own it, because look, even if you play all of these different roles, those who are not like you and you are not like them, you are never going to find belonging there. So just own it. If you are the fire, then own it. Let it burn a few things, fine. You know, and it's sometimes most often the things that are gonna get burned in the process are things that were anyways not good for nobody. Connections had to break for both sides to find their own liberation, to acknowledge their own path individually. And it's always better afterwards, but you only know it afterwards. And it gives the opportunity to very, very strongly, very clearly make a statement. This is who I am. And only then I can see you and be like, oh my gosh, you're like me too? Mm-hmm. And then we can start recognizing one another and get together. So to me, that was the most important thing. I wanted to put this into a song to remind myself in my times where I felt like the environment around me had pushed too much, had drilled too much into me, that I'm the crazy of the village. I wanted to remind myself, no, I am the fire. And I wanted also to say it also to others. That's for others also to hear it. Like a self-affirmation. I'm sure if you are, you know, one of us, so to speak, and you hear that, it's going to resonate with you. Mm-hmm. It's going to remind you something. And maybe it's not like one day to the other, but it's going to start digging, chiseling something out in the surface. So Tell me a little bit about the things that you did a little differently in this body of work. Specifically, I know we're talking about the flagship song of the EP, the I'm the Fire, but generally, Brand New Eyes as an EP. I think as a production, we brought some things in that we never had done before. Something that is sticking out to me right now is, for example, that's the first EP that we have almost on all songs, like live drums.
On all of the songs, actually.
Yeah.
I tried to bring back a little bit more play again and a little bit more creative thought and also a little bit more manipulation of sound sources. And I didn't want to make it like I always do it, I didn't want to, choose like an instrument or whatever sound source and just use it or whatever. I wanted to see, first of all, I wanted to keep it more organic, but not necessarily organic because, for example,
there's a lot of electronic
some songs,
elements.
they sound very electronic. But I wanted to see if I can use organic sound sources and make them sound electronic. So, for example, all of the songs, they have real drums, and all of the songs also have an acoustic guitar.
Right.
All of the songs, yes. And I just challenged myself and I just tried to see if I can make it work, if I can put these things into all of the songs. Because as I said, I started playing with this thought of having organic sound sources, but manipulate them in a way that they might not sound the way they are, but they are still getting recognized by people subconsciously as an organic source.
Right.
So,
do you know what I found funny? I mean, I know it's for another song, and we're going to talk about this song on another podcast, Sword Sharp.
Yes.
I found it so funny that, for example, this guitar we had there, everybody thought it was a percussion. Someone else thought, what is it? Is it like a pizzicato, strings, violin? And it's like an acoustic guitar. And I've spotted that happening like with almost all of the songs. Everybody had to say something else, not particularly with the acoustic guitars. And I was like, yeah, what is this? What is this percussion you have put there? And it's like, nope, it's the guitar. I was doing this, like, I found that very cool.
That's the thing, because sometimes, and especially with this example now, sometimes I just recorded them very quick and I was just like, okay, let me see, like the sound doesn't need to be perfect because I'm anyways manipulating it. And with the Sword Sharp guitar, for example, I made a mistake and I just realized it very late in the mix. I was having the microphone in a way that I was breathing very loud into the microphone.
Oh gosh,
so I had my breath all the time recorded, but of course also not on beat.
Yeah.
So I had the choice to either cut the guitar into like lots of, because sometimes they were just single notes strummed, so I could have just cut out 1, 2, 3 notes and just copy pasted them. But I didn't want that, because that's the next thing that I wanted to achieve, that, for example, with drums or with acoustic guitar, the hits never sound the same. You could play the same, but the hits always sound different. So the first hit doesn't sound like the second, and the second doesn't sound like the third. So I wanted to use this whole thing. And with the Sword Sharp guitar, for example, or I wanted to use the guitar like the whole track. And so I had to manipulate the sound in a way that I cut almost all of that stuff out, like all of the breath and everything. And I had to compress it in a way that the sound actually gets very destroyed. But exactly, it's almost not recognizable as a guitar anymore. It would sound like a percussion instrument, like some percussive thing, or like exactly pizzicato strings or whatever.
Yeah, I tell you, everybody was hearing something different, and we were like, nope, that's a guitar.
Yes, I know we had a discussion about that at some point, and we discussed if we name the song I Am the Fire, or the song Brand New Eyes, or the EP I Am the Fire, or the EP Brand New Eyes. And I know that we decided, obviously, for this, that we called the EP Brand New Eyes and the song I Am the Fire, but you actually never told me why exactly.
Why I went for Brand New Eyes and not I Am the Fire.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, everything started from the song I Am the Fire. So yes, that's why I had at first, that maybe the EP should also be called I Am the Fire. But everything started actually from this one line that came to me in that bus that I was telling you that I was writing, and I pulled out my phone and I started writing the song, like on my phone. Just this phrase came to me: I see the world with brand new eyes. that was it. I see the world with brand new eyes because I realized that I was looking around me and I wasn't seeing things the way I was seeing it until there. And the song is, yeah, I'm the fire, but the whole everything, even the realization that you are the fire, it comes from you suddenly, yeah, your eyes opening up, like just too much happening to you at once and realizing that, wait a minute. No, it's not like that, like, that I'm the crazy of the village. And no, I'm the fire. Now my eyes are open. I see the world with brand new eyes and I can see that I'm the fire. I can see that it's okay. It's not like the world out to get me. But also it's not that everybody's my friend either. But it's also not that I'm crazy. But it's also not that others are crazy. It's just we are on a different, we just see things differently. But then you just, it's more about that, about our eyes just opening in some way where we are able to even recognize that we are the fire. Because if due to your conditioning or if you keep on buying into the idea that you are, as I said, the crazy of the village, then you will never see that you are the fire. So the important thing is not so much that you are the fire as much as your ability to see that you are the fire and to own it. Mm-hmm. And you know what's the themes of pretty much all of the songs on this album, if I should say, they are all having to do with these pillars of when your eyes are opening, oh my gosh, nothing is the same again. Number one, you stop living for others and you start living for yourself. Mm-hmm. And that you see the true colors of others through that, and you also get to see your true colors. So again, it takes me back to the song I Am the Fire, all these colors come to life. So another thing is you are realizing all of the power that comes with being who you are, and it's not just a liability, who you are, all of your gifts, all of your quirks, all of your ability for creation is not a liability like everybody else around you had been telling you. So it was a lot. To me, these last years, they felt like a big breaking moment. Mm-hmm. And when I'm saying breaking, I don't mean in a bad way, but there was this cracking that happened where some things I couldn't unsee anymore. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say, and I had too many puddings with proof in them. And I was like, wait a minute. So, yes. Yeah, so that's why Brand New Eyes and not necessarily I'm the Fire, because, yeah, I'm the Fire is the flagship song, but it all is anchored, and all of the other songs, Sword Sharp, River, Equal even, which is a love song, but it's about finding your equal. Only once you have realized that you are the fire can you go out there and start looking for someone else who is also the fire, and who knows that they are the fire, because I've met also people in my life that they had the potential or they were the fire, but if they couldn't see it, I couldn't open their eyes to see it. And, so all of the songs, they are coming back to this. I see the world with brand new eyes. And what do I see? I see that I'm the fire. Mm-hmm. But the eyes need to be open to see that. That's why. Oh my gosh. Someone is going to write now, it's not that deep, Felicia. And yet it is. So, yeah. I would like at this point to ask you if you would like to accompany me, that we maybe play the song acoustically here for all the beautiful people. Thank you all for having been here with us until now. If you are, give me a yellow heart in the comments if you stuck around until this point. Yellow for...
Why yellow?
For I Am the Fire, obviously. But what do you think? Should we play a nice little acoustic?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
For the God
took all courage to reverse the empty life. Soul of Christ did, undivided, heard the call, came to fight. Oh, we take it back, I'll take it any day if it's to change a centuries of dark oppression, breaking sun, 'cause here I am the fire, I am the fire. All the nights I cried myself to sleep, didn't know what lay within me, no. I felt so alone in a sea, a soul so black you didn't see that I'd forgotten how I'd come here. So to open up her eyes, it's not them, it's their discomfort, just the breaking down of lies. Oh, we take it back, I take it, hey, any day if it's to change centuries of dark oppression, breaking sun, 'cause here I am the fire, oh, I am the fire, I am the fire, I am the fire. Right, you guys. Thank you. That was so nice. I hope you guys enjoyed the song and enjoyed the discussion. I hope the discussion gave some insight, some clarity, something to reflect on, something to muse about. And so, from me, I don't know if you want to say something last, but I think it's a good time to wrap it up. Any last words?
No, thanks for watching.
Yes, thanks for watching. Thanks
That's
for
all I have to say.
having been here with us, guys. And we hope to see you on our next episode, which I hope it's going to be a little more organized. But okay, that was our first one today. I think we did good. I think we did good. And so thank you so much for having produced this beautiful body of work with me.
It was a pleasure. I mean...
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Was it really a pleasure? Do you want me to come back for another album? Think about it. No, next day I go to the studio, the door is locked. I'm not here, I'm on vacation. Has anybody seen Jovan? We don't know where he's been, he just vanished. Okay, so thank you all, and we wish you a wonderful time. I hope you enjoy it, Brand New Eyes. Please go and stream it if you haven't. It's on all digital streaming platforms, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you thought of it. And yes, from us, have a wonderful, wonderful time. See you soon.